Welcome to Yumi and All Things She. Our podcast is about all aspects of being a woman, from motherhood to careers, romantic relationships to family relationships and dynamics, and everything in between. It's a chance to learn, explore, and feel what's genuine and imagined as a woman in this world, along with multi-generational conversations that will stimulate your soul. So sit back, laugh, smile, and even cry a little along with us as we begin our journey together. You, me, and all things she. Thank you for joining me on this episode of You, Me, and All Things She. My name is Deb, and I am so grateful that you've joined me today for this episode. One of the things that I'd like to talk about today that we're going to focus on is the term that everybody buzzwords, if you will, is self-care. And I find that, or I have found over the years that when we as women get stuck in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, if you're a working woman, if you're a mom, if you're married, the day could go from beginning to end extremely fast. And the next thing you know, not only did the day go by, but the week's gone by and the month's gone by. And next thing you know, it's the whole year. And what have you done to take care of yourself? So I wanted to talk a little bit about self-care and give some ideas and suggestions and things that may or may not work for you. But I'd like for us to talk about that. Over the years, especially when I found myself raising my children, and as they got to those very involved years where I was running them back and forth, because as I mentioned, I have two girls. They're now grown adult women with their own children, their own families. But when they were in those years of very active life, it seemed like all I did was run back and forth either to work and run them back and forth to their activities, and then fixing dinner or breakfast or lunches for the next day for school. And it just seemed to be almost overwhelm with so many things to do and keep organized in the day-to-day life. And so I want to just talk about what I discovered a little bit later in life as they began to drive and take on some of those personal freedoms. Was I discovered that I need to reconnect with myself. And so one of the ways that I started to, believe it or not, self-care and take care of myself was I started running. I hadn't been physically active my entire adult life, although I was in my teen years. And while I was in school, I was a swimmer and played volleyball and was very actively involved. But once I had become an adult, my focus shifted to raising my children, providing them everything I can. And my schedule became extremely full with caring for this family. And we kind of leave ourselves behind. And one way that I found that I could get back to some physical fitness for myself and reconnect with who I wanted to be was I decided to take on this challenge of starting to run. So I started with, first of all, a 5K. And I did the 5K. Then I obviously, like most of us, once you start an activity, that motivation becomes stronger and stronger. And then I was focused on timing and I was focused on longer distance. And, at that time I'd had a teenage daughter in the home. She ran a little bit with me from time to time and did a race here and there. I had one grandchild. She came and did a race with me. So it was a way that I could express that joy with them. But also when I was really doing the heaviest of my training in order to prepare for a half marathon or marathon, I was really spending a lot of time alone. And it was a way that I could self-care, believe it or not, through that physical exercise. What I'm doing today, that's, probably 10 or 15 years ago, but what I'm doing more today for self-care is I've really started to get involved with reading things that stretch me. I listen to audiobooks that will stretch me. I'm getting into personal development that will stretch me. I'm meditating for the very first time, which has been an extremely exciting journey to go on. And I'm physically sitting down and taking the time to be still. That's one of the areas in which I have struggled with my whole life. And it's not because I don't like to, it's because by birth, I'm an Aries, and if anyone knows an Aries, you go, 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 go. And one of the struggles I dealt with early on in my adult life was the ability to say no and knowing where and when those boundaries needed to be established in order to take care of myself. And it seems to be that that's a little bit easier to go through nowadays. And I'm able to more clearly, more easily maneuver a no when it's not needed or necessary. And so just working through that progress of really getting to know myself better and better day by day and moment by moment in order to take some of that time to self-care, to do the things that I know I need to do for me rather than sacrificing me always for the good of everyone else. Another thing I'll do from time to time, and these are just some great ideas and tips that you can do, even um, over the period of my career, what I could have done had I looked back, rather than taking early morning times that I would do for preparing and studying maybe for some state exams for my profession, is that what I could do and will do now is I'll make that early morning time for my reading time or time for my devotional time or time for my journaling time. So I utilize that same time frame for the during the day that I used to use to be productive in one way. I'm now using it for productive self-care. So a couple of just really quick things I'll talk about, and I'll put some links in the notes and comments below so that if you wanted to follow up on any of those tips and techniques that I've mentioned, whether it's journaling, whether it's audiobooks. I'm not really I prefer really to read more than I do listen, but listening gives me an opportunity to do a couple of things. I can walk. So I am taking self-care from a physical standpoint, but then I'm also nurturing my spiritual self or my mental growth and personal development side by also listening to audiobooks. So it's kind of a win-win for both of those if I can do them kind of in conjunction with one another. And, self-love for me today or self-care for me today also has given me the opportunity to prioritize those relationships that are important in my life. And, spending time with my husband, spending time walking, spending time doing things or just enjoying a nice dinner where we can talk at the table is an important aspect of self-care for me. And things that at one point in my life seemed like they were just a job to do, another task to accomplish, now tend to be a little bit more, I get to express some creativity and all of that great fun stuff that can happen when you really connect with who you are and learn more about what you are. So I'll put all those tools in the comments below, as well as all the show notes for you. But I'd like for also you to, again, if you haven't clicked the subscribe button below, please do that in order to not miss one episode, which we're going to have lots of fun doing. And secondly, is give me your comments. What do you do to take self-care for you? How have you wrapped that up into your day-to-day life so that you can be fulfilled and provide a better version of you to all of those people in your life that you love? So just drop that in the comments below. And don't forget to go out and join our Facebook group, all you, me, and all things she Facebook group. And we'll see you there. Until next time, I'll see you real soon. Have a great day and take care of yourself.